The Little Green Elf's Christmas by Carolyn Sherwin Bailey. The little green elf sat in his doorway. He had a very nice house. A long time ago, a rabbit had owned the same hollow tree, but the little green elf had lived there for many years, ever since the cow ate his father. The house was very tidy inside. There was moss for a carpet. In the corner was a cupboard with clean acorn cups and tiny saucers. An empty nest was the little green elf's bed, with oak leaf pillows and spread. Usually, the little green elf was a merry fellow, but today he was sorrowful. He sat with his hands in his little green pockets. There were holes in his green coat, and the wind blew in. It was such a very cold wind, too. "Pretty sort of weather," he said in a gruff voice, because his throat was sore. "Not much to eat, and no thistledown to pay the pixies for a new overcoat. Never knew such a year. Brooks empty, milkweed crop failed, no pumpkin seeds to be had at any price. The nuts are all covered up with snow. Whew, but it's cold. And Christmas Eve, as sure as I live. Chee-chee-chee-chee-chee-chee!" The little green elf stopped shivering and listened. "Chee-chee! Fine night, isn't it? How do you do down below there?" "It's the lame squirrel," said the little green elf. "I thought he must be frozen this bitter weather, or starved. Not a nut has he been able to pick up since he cut his leg in the trap. Hello, up there! How are you?" "All right," chirped a cheerful voice. "Beautiful weather, isn't it?" "I'm not so sure," said the elf. "Got anything to eat?" "Oh, plenty," said the piping voice. "There's fine bark on this tree, and I'm chewing on an icicle. I'm watching the Christmas trees going into town. Grand sight. You ought to be up here." The little green elf took his hands out of his pockets. He began to whistle softly to himself as he walked back and forth thinking. Then he took his pine needle broom and swept the snow out of his house. Next, he started off over the snow. He was not gone long. When he came back, he was dragging a hemlock branch. He carried it into the house. He stood it up in the middle of the floor. He made so much noise that one of the sleeping crickets woke up. "What are you doing?" she said, peering in the door. "Shh," said the little green elf. "It's a Christmas tree for the lame squirrel. Don't tell him." "Got any fixings for it?" said the cricket. "Oh, a few," said the little green elf. "I'm going to hang on a bag of chestnuts I was saving for dinner tomorrow." "Hold on," said the cricket. "I'll just waken a few fireflies to be lights in the tree." A snowbird fluttered by. "What's going on?" he twittered, looking in the door. "Shh," said the little green elf. "Christmas tree for the lame squirrel." "Wait a minute," said the snowbird. "I'll bring a bunch of wheat to put on the top." One of the frost fairies peered in. "You seem to be very busy. What are you doing?" she called out. "Shh," said the little green elf. "A Christmas tree for the lame squirrel." "Oh, let me help," said the frost fairy. "I know where there is a whole pile of hickory nuts, and I'll put some frost crystals on the branches." It was certainly a beautiful Christmas tree. The moon came out on purpose to see it. There it stood in the middle of the little green elf's parlor. From the top to the bottom it was shining with the fireflies for lights and the frost crystals. The wheat was hung. On every branch there were nuts, and there were chains of pine needles. After it was all finished, the little green elf and a friendly pixie went up to fetch the lame squirrel. They were a long time bringing him down. He was so very lame and so hungry that he had become quite weak. While they were gone, something happened. Nobody ever found out who did it. Perhaps Santa Claus passed by, but wonderful things were left in the little green elf's parlor, all nicely arranged around the room. When the little green elf reached his door with the lame squirrel, he stood still. He rubbed his eyes to see if he were asleep. The same Christmas tree was there, but it was 10 times more beautiful. There were glowworms and tiny fallen stars to make it brighter. There were hundreds of nuts, hazelnuts, butternuts, walnuts, and chestnuts. There were bags of pumpkin seeds and cans of milkweed. Best of all, wrapped underneath the tree was a green overcoat for the little green elf. All night long, the lame squirrel sat up and ate nuts. All night long, the little green elf danced around the Christmas tree in his little green overcoat. And the rest of the woodfolk, the pixies, the kobolds, the gnomes, and the fairies, all came out and danced too. They were so glad. When morning came, the little green elf looked at his door. The sun was shining. He was so warm. "Beautiful weather," he said. "Best Christmas I ever spent." "That's so," said the lame squirrel, through a mouthful of nuts that he was contentedly chewing. The end.